Oh my god, I forgot. I forgot to mute myself. So we were just talking about edamame. That's so funny. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I realized I forgot to mute myself while I was talking to you, so they just heard me talking to you about your edamame. Yeah. Yeah. Done. Published. Mhm. Yeah. Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think. Yeah. 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 I think there's a couple things going on. So, like, one thing that I've really noticed is, like, as I was on the way out, Jeff was, like, ramping up all of these projects, but not, like, hiring more people. So, like, I think and also Lucas is half in, half out, right? He does some stuff for Jeff, but he's, like, mostly Luda's lab, essentially. So and yeah? Oh, Alicia, you need to mute your desktop audio. Sean just Sean just said that they can hear me. everybody.
Hello, hello. Someone let us know if the audio is okay. Please. If you can.
I can hear myself on your side, Alicia.
You can? Oh, right, because it's not through my fucking... Hold on. Hold, please. Hold, please. Hold, please. Hold, please. I have to switch the audio output, Alicia. Yes. You switch it to this. Oh, God. Say something.
Hello?
Fuck. Hello? Not this again. I will actually cry.
It was working, which is so upsetting.
Yeah, and then I switched it. My negative self-talk is showing. Yeah, too. Okay.
And then
Nope.
Raffle Iron said that he can't hear me. So I don't know if you muted the desktop audio.
You negative. Desktop audio is not muted, but that's bad. Christ on a cracker. My fee-fine is fee-fine. That's my microphone's name. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know why it's the brand of this. Why not go through plug? Why not work? Are you not on? Do you need be on? You'd probably need be on.
Hello?
No.
I'll just do the alphabet. A, B, C. I can still hear myself. So
Yeah. I did that. Get a grip. I did that. And it popped up and said, "Hey, are you doing headphones?" And I was like, "Yep." And it doesn't seem to care. I could learn sign language.
I should learn sign.
Honestly, I'd love to learn sign language. Is this plugged in properly? Yes. This is not giving me an indication that it's turning on, though.
The call needs to be on the same headphones as work.
Man, why did I change everything? Or anything. I didn't change everything. Changed anything. Okay. Okay. Everything's fine.
Okay, well, she gets it together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go look up sign language.
I mean, our old boss's son tried to teach us some sign language at one point, didn't he?
I know bacon.
Bacon. Oh yeah, because it's wavy, right?
Yes, that's what I know from you.
Was it through the wrong jack? I have two of the little stupid holes. That's what she said. So maybe it's in the wrong hole. No one ever wants that. Okay, let's try this. Come on.
Not the wrong hole. Oh, jeez.
I'm so sad. Okay.
I'm gonna spell my name. I don't know, is it like this, like that, or is it gonna be like this? I don't know how the angle it needs to be at.
I can
I'm
go
talking
in gamer mode.
I don't hear myself. That's oh no, I do again. It's back.
Yeah.
It came
and
back.
And this is how I accidentally muted you the first time, is I muted you on something incorrect.
Everything was working pre.
Well, not
I don't hear
through
myself.
the stream. That was just through the call. Because if I mute you here, I think that means that you are muted for the audience. No, I can't hear you. That's bad. Fuck, it was working perfectly last time. Why? Okay, well, first of all, let's just make sure that these are actually charged. Maybe that's the concern. I'm so sorry, everyone. Fuck. Okay. I swear to God I had these charged, but you never know. Okay. You go over here. One day this will happen. One day everything will be fine. Okay.
Monotropism.
Okay, so I unmuted you there. Could anyone hear you like for the last 3 minutes on my channel?
I was gonna say Raffle Iron Chef said that they could. It was working. It works again. Yes,
It
so it
works
was
again.
apparently yes.
But I'm hearing you
It's
through my
working.
speaker, not through my headphones. So nothing has changed for me, and I haven't changed anything other than plugging in these headphones. So that's suspicious, but I'm not angry at it.
The only thing you need to change for that then is the audio output in our call.
Right. So when it stopped working, that was me muting you in the call, in the Twitch pop out. So
I don't know.
Right now, I'm about to mute you. You say something.
Okay.
So Alicia can't hear you. She's muted. Right. Okay.
Okay. I'm not catching an echo of myself.
Okay. It's working. You're just out loud.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean,
I can't hear myself, so
that's
what's important. No.
That's so strange because before when you were like, I can hear myself, I've changed nothing from that. Question mark.
Maybe it's a microphone speaker coordination thing. Like anyways.
It worked perfectly last time, so I'm a little bit chapped at the whole situation. But alas, the horrors persist. But so do we.
But so do we, baby. And on that note, welcome back to Vulgar Science, guys. Yeah. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for tolerating the ongoing tech issues. Would it be a Neurolesia affiliated stream of any kind without just consistent tech issues? I don't think so.
Zero. Yeah. If there were zero tech issues, nah, man.
I mean, last time there wasn't any tech issues, was there? We actually did pretty good last time, I think. But
there were like minimal ones, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a Grip is requesting a shared chat. I probably should learn how to do that, but
just go to the Twitch pop out, the like white screen, start sharing chat. Share chat is enabled. I don't know if you even need to do anything. I clicked it, and I think maybe because I called you, it works. Share chat.
Yeah, it just works. Yeah, I think you as the host have to technically do it, but
yeah, there's a shiny little banner that says shared chat now. So great.
Yeah.
All right. Well. Hi, folks. Everything's working except humanity.
You're like everything It is AI. Oh my god. I was going to say, speaking of technology and technological issues. Yeah, like, I feel like we're living... Yeah, I know the pause. We're like... Lately, I feel like we're living in a simulation, but that's not necessarily relevant to artificial intelligence. But I feel like sometimes artificial intelligence plays into that feeling, in my opinion. I'm like, are we in the Matrix? Who knows?
Hey, listen, though, because when I was... you're not that far off. Like, I don't think it's completely weird to feel like things are a simulation, and I don't think that that's off topic for AI, because... I was listening to podcasts. So I listened to the Neil deGrasse Tyson podcast where he hosted this MIT Media Lab researcher who now works also with Google. After this research was done, she started working for Google. And despite a whole bunch of opinions I have about that situation, you know, in general, one of the things that was kind of a constant refrain in this kind of group of people that are all really well educated and respected by most people, was that, you know, if we put a whole bunch of guardrails and a whole bunch of stops and, you know, checks and balances on AI at this point, will we prevent the advent of something where you could like download to your brain like, hey, now I know karate? And that was a lot of the kind of pro AI with reckless abandon kind of approach. Like in the Matrix, that is kind of what happens. That's how he's like, what? I know Kung Fu, right? I say that as someone who's never fully watched the movie.
That was a pretty good Keanu Reeves impression. I'm actually very impressed with you. It's the 90s outfit. It's really lending to it.
It's also that I just innately feel akin to Bill and Ted, so I feel like that's kind of a thing. But, anyways, yeah. But I guess,
Yeah.
yeah, you go.
I mean, like, yeah, I think that's a, like, one, I think that's, like, looking so far forward, right, at AI. And I think there's definitely pros and cons to that, right? Of like, oh, we can all, like, yeah, we say we have all the knowledge at our fingertips right now when we have smartphones, but like, if we literally had the ability to like learn skills instantly,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of like positive and negative implications for that, right?
Well,
On the other end, I think we could also look at AI and its all of the issues with it presently. But what were you
true.
going to say?
Even, well, I was going to say, even if you could do that, like, let's just say I could download all
Yeah.
of the information that the internet has to say about how to ride a horse into your brain right now. Let's jump the hurdles of that, unbelievability, and get there and
Jump the
talk.
hurdles, literally.
Yeah. Love, love. Hey, Better Off Ted. Welcome in.
Hello.
Um, if you did that, neurologically speaking, learning isn't just about conceptual understanding. There's also some degree of physical learning that you have to do, especially for a physical task like that, right? Where I don't know that you would still be able to execute that, even if in that make believe world where you could download it, because there's so many kind of individual parameters like proprioception, how your body moves in time and space, that I don't think knowledge of a subject could ever emulate. Yeah? But anyways.
No, I agree. Like the concept of like muscle memory is that's I know that's like a sort of pop psychology term, but like there is like reality to that, right? There's our body has a habitual ability to do things often before we cognitively understand it. That's why people can drive on autopilot,
Right.
right?
It's
And
habit loops.
so
Your body, you can tie your shoes without
yes.
thinking about, hey, I'm tying my shoes.
Yeah.
100%.
So I mean, absolutely. I think you lose that sort of neural imprint if you're just
Yeah.
like learning in an instantaneous fashion like that. So yeah, I agree. I think like it's much more complex than just like downloading a chip to my brain. What was it like? Isn't Neuralink literally trying to do that right now? Like that's where
The last time that I looked into this was when I was actively streaming, so 2 years old information at the very least. But I did a whole stream
mm-hmm,
about how much I hate Elon Musk and how much I hate Neuralink.
fair, fair.
And
It's actually gotten worse in the past 2 years. We hate Elon Musk more than we did.
yeah, I don't know if Neuralink is what made it worse. I don't know how those guys are progressing. I guess probably not well, because fuck them. But they were doing stuff where they could get chimpanzees to move like a dot in like a very basic video game just by thinking about it, and
Okay.
they were rewarding them with like milkshake and stuff like that. But this implant, it was still like exteriorized. It was something where you're basically just adding a node between the top down kind of brain control of your muscles. And instead of going to your muscles, it went to this, Raspberry Pi or some sort of computing, I don't even know the word, computing thing. And then to the video game interface, right? And I won't
Yeah.
pretend to be able to speak articulately about that, but like that was that to me isn't, what do they even call it, by the like brain computer interfaces.
Yes, I think we're like quite far away from like what we're talking about right
Yeah.
now. Like when you're talking about that kind of thing,
Yeah.
that's almost like that's not even that far away from mapping like neurons in like a cat's brain, like
Yeah.
old school. Like
Yeah.
we move the line in this direction, and this one neuron
Yeah.
fires. Kind of like
100%.
it's not that far away from that. Like that's pretty basic. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. But I mean, this is all really esoteric stuff, and we do have a lot of like actual concrete data to talk about today. So I'd like to like try and not, veer off into like, what are the implications for ethics and, that sort of thing, because number one, there's no easy answer for that sort of stuff. So as a scientist, I'm like not super juiced on just like opening an endless spiral of argument about it. Then again, this is a
yeah.
space of debate. So,
Yeah, I think when Alicia and I were talking about how we kind of wanted to do today, we were kind of like, We would love to do like a point counterpoint style where we're like kind of like debating like the pros and cons of like a lot of stuff. And we would love for you guys to also participate. Obviously, you guys
Yeah.
are excited about this topic because the chat's already blowing up. But
Slap an Arduino on
yeah,
that paralyzed man. That was the
I
word I was
think
looking for, Arduino, by the way.
an
Thank you.
Arduino. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a Raspberry Pi. I love it. Anyways.
I know that that's something. That's a thing. Raspberry Pi's a thing. Because I was like, Raspberry Pi
Yeah.
sounds delicious.
It's like a tracking software. I think it's was originally used for like RFID detection and like for instance like game camera stuff, but I think
They
it's
use it in
like
research a lot for
gotten
animal research.
it's getting more complex, yeah, as
Yeah.
like like a coding background for
It's raining
animal
big
research.
time, so Miss Hooney is over here and scared. Yeah, it's okay, baby. I might have to move Hoon's bed closer to me because she's pupset.
No worry. Yeah,
Rain,
yeah.
but
It's like you guys are having a thunderstorm. It's like
I'm not sure, but it's raining on the skylight, so it's like pitter pattering quite loudly and echoey. And like because we have vaulted ceilings, it's a lot more kind of yeah.
a huge echo. Yeah, large echo. Raspberry Pi is a small circuit board that can run an OS on it. Okay,
That feels right. That feels right.
that
That's what I said.
What about
Gaslight Cave.
what about strawberry pie? What about blueberry
pie?
pie? What are those? Do those
Rhubarb
change
pie.
the rhubarb pie?
Honestly, I can go for that kind of pie. Very cheap, very available. Yeah, yeah. I know a lot of people that use it instead of the chambers that we use to condition rats to do certain behaviors or mice to do certain behaviors, because you can get these systems from, there's like 3 companies that have like a literal worldwide monopoly on these things, so they can charge like fucking $5,000 for like a lever that will turn on a light. And that's fine because the other guys charge $499 for $4,999. But if you can make your own little bebop with a Raspberry Pi, then
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I feel like that's just all of science, though, is like subject to like the powers of capitalism as well. Like when stuff, it's like, for instance, I use what's something called a cold pressure test in my research. So it's like putting your hand in ice water, like cold water, where you could just get a bucket of ice. You could go outside, get snow, and put it in a bucket, and it would be essentially the same thing. But you want to get a circulating water bath off Thermo Fisher Scientific. That shit is like 2K. And it's like, why is a cold water bath 2K? Yeah. But you know, that which ruins technology is usually capitalism. Let's be so for real.
Absolutely.
And I think AI is no different. Like I think, again, we are all very excited about like the potential for AI, but I think some of the horrors that persist, as you say, like with AI currently is like its ability to like consume people's jobs. And so one of the things that is like very, very obvious to me right now is like I just moved to Silicon Valley a few months ago, and like do you know what Waymos are, Alicia?
The cars that drive themselves.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
And so
they get into like a little lockstep with each other, and they all won't move, and people scream, and it's pretty funny. I've seen some videos.
So yeah, so Silicon Valley is like the home of Uber, right? I believe like Uber was derived here, but now its replacement is essentially like Uber drivers are being replaced by like driverless cars, and people who did like significant gig work or like in an Uber, like Uber Eats, are now having to like hustle in a different way to make money. And so job loss obviously is an essential factor of like AI development. And we could talk about all the different ways that all the different like positions, because I feel like that is something I remember when I first flew into San Francisco airport. And my Uber driver picked me up, and all I said, "Oh yeah, I'm like interviewing at this university." All he wanted to talk about was AI and AI's ability to take people's jobs, and I think it's on everybody's mind. I think it's fair. I think certain jobs are more vulnerable to it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing that I think about with the Waymos and self-driving cars is like the data that we have at this point is that they are significantly safer. Like this
is true.
And which is fine, right? Like, okay, go ahead, they're significantly safer, but the humanity part of us, like the human part of us is like, but that's not always why I get in my car, is to get safely from A to B. Like, we say on paper that is, but sometimes it's to get from A to B fast because I'm late, or fast because I don't want to waste even more time on my dumb commute to my job that I hate, or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes it's I have to get my wife to the hospital because she's having a baby, or, you know, whatever else thing it is. So safety becomes a secondary concern of it. And then you get into this kind of thing about like, is AI improving or just changing kind of what the imperative is in that situation?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I think, and so Ruffle Iron was like, I'll believe the cars are safer until like once I like see the published peer reviewed data.
Yeah.
Does that data exist? Let me go look that up. But I do think there's
Yeah.
also like an accessibility component, which I think is really promising,
Absolutely.
right? Like people, maybe it's not safer than the average like um we'll say like 30 to 40-year-old driver, but when we're talking about younger
Mm-hmm.
people who are learning to drive, or older people who are starting to have vision impairment and
Yeah.
like slow cognitive processing, like I'm sure it performs better than
Yeah.
those groups, and like that actually increases its ability, like accessibility for individuals. And like, how many times have you been on the highway and you're like stuck behind somebody, they're like creating a pileup, and you drive by them and they're like some little old man or woman trying to just get from point A to point B. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that, like, I feel like Waymo would benefit those people significantly.
A hundred
Let me look up that
percent.
data if it's
And I
available.
mean, disproportionately people that can afford to use them, as you're saying, right? Um, Rafael Ironchef says, last I checked, Tesla categorizes its crash data as proprietary, which is insane, but also,
Well, Tesla's Tesla. They want to be effing proprietary. Like, but
they want to be
Waymo and
exempt from rules.
Zooks.
Yeah. Zooks?
Yeah,
What's
I think.
Zooks?
Yeah, that again. I live in Silicon Valley, so now I get ads for like. It's not even a driverless car. It's like a driverless. I don't even know. It's all of the seats face each other, and then it just moves. So it's almost like a trolley car, but it's like everybody's just
I need to
innovating
look
to
at
get
this thing
closer
up.
to
There's no way.
Zeus.
Can you find a picture and share it, or I
Yeah.
can just
Okay.
like,
First.
yeah, we need to
Yeah.
get this open. Zooks. First of all, love the
Here.
name. I love. Okay, so something completely outside of the actual practical implications of AI things.
Mm-hmm.
I love what people be naming, you know, advanced technologies. They're like, this
Yeah.
is Zimzam, and like it just utter nonsense words. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, I want to go
I
to
do.
work in a
I do.
bedazzler, you know? I think that's already a thing, but
I do enjoy that, except when it's like Tesla products. That is, I think, just for me, it's like, oh, Elon Musk is like he wants
dear
to feel
God, we
special
invented
because like
trains.
he's never made a woman come, so
Yeah,
like he needs somebody to make him feel special, and
yeah,
he's like, I'm gonna name my child 6 letters that don't make any sense and a number, and then
right.
also name all of my companies that, and it's like, okay, sir.
Yeah, I mean, anything that man touches is something that I automatically hate. I've very much moralized his kind of influence and sphere as just something that I even if he told me something that I wholeheartedly agree with right now in this moment, I'd be like, I now changed my mind. I now I now hate
Yes,
that.
that's fair.
You suck. You've ruined
you,
everything.
you've ruined it,
He's a
seriously.
reverse
So
Midas.
okay,
He's everything you touch is
so I
shit.
guess Waymo is Google's version, and then
Okay.
Zoox is Amazon trying to compete with them in the industry. And I don't know if there's another. I don't know if any other company, like obviously Tesla's trying to do something, but like
Yeah.
they're not like, yeah. So then, okay, let's go back to. Well, yeah, I was middle of searching. Oh wait, no, it's in the other tab. Are driverless cars safer than human drivers? Let's find out. Data suggests what data? Oh, is there a Nature paper? Oh,
I feel like there was
oh,
a paper that I respected that showed these data because my dad was like, did you know that self-driving cars are safer? And I'm like, aren't there like 6 of them actively on the
yeah,
road? How do we have these data, right? They can't even get my
Performance
package to me.
varies by company. 91% fewer injuries. Okay. Okay.
When's the paper from? Drop the link.
2020,
Link in the comments, fam.
2024.
Okay, that's decent. Yeah, that adds up with when my dad was talking about this. So yeah, that's yeah. We love a nature paper.
Why is that? I don't
Nature
know why
comms.
that's
Yeah,
so
this is hot
chaotic,
shit.
but
Matched case control analysis of autonomous versus human-driven vehicle accidents. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I'm not
Are
sure
you
what a
pulling it up on your
matched
computer?
case control design is.
It's like it's a randomized clinical trial, but not a randomized clinical trial. So it's literally matched. So it's the conditions are the same. It's I don't know. They put the same person in a driverless vehicle IDK. They're like, we'll put you behind the wheel, and then we'll put you in the driverless vehicle.
Okay.
La, la.
Hmm.
This paper number of accidents related to studies of vehicle. Oh, is this a meta-analysis too?
Love
I think
that.
it is. Oh, it literally is. That's impressive.
That's very cute.
Driving automation.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the ratio of accidents involving driving systems occur more frequently than human driving vehicle accidents, especially under dusk or dawn or turning conditions, 5.25 and 1.98 times higher, respectively, for a dawn and dusk or turning condition. I assume is what they're referring to there. That's
Okay.
that's
But
that's
just under
potent.
like
5.25
that is.
times higher. That's not like
Wait.
5.25%.
Advanced driving systems than human. Yeah. Wait, and 2 times higher respectively. What does that mean? What are they comparing to? Because it's 5.5 times higher for advanced driving systems and 2 for human-driven vehicle.
No, I think it's saying
Compared to what?
that advanced driving systems.
Oh, dawn and dusk and turning conditions is
Right, those are the
respectively.
two
Got
conditions
it.
that they're.
Got it. Actually, it was conducted to investigate the differential character.
Oh wait, no,
Interesting.
that's the opposite of the thing that we thought people were claiming, right? Oh, I hate when people
Yeah, it's
write
saying.
so fucking squirrely like that. This shouldn't be hard to
So yes,
understand, you know?
yeah. So yeah, advanced driving systems are making more errors than human-driven vehicles
In
under
those
these
conditions.
conditions. In those conditions, in those number of times. So 5.5, well,
That's pretty
5.25, and
significant.
then two times higher. That's yeah. Sorry, but what does it say about like general conditions? The analysis
I
suggests
don't
that
know.
accidents of vehicles. The suggests that accidents of vehicles equipped with advanced driving systems have a lower chance of occurring in most of the similar. So okay. So they did a number of accident scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are like the weak spots essentially that
Yeah,
advanced driving systems have to work on is like turning conditions and then dawn and dusk driving,
that's
which
fair. That makes sense. That's the hardest
yeah.
time to get adequate kind of like visual data out of things, but
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
people often say that dawn and dusk driving is like often the most difficult for human drivers as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's so interesting.
Hmm.
So it actually is, yeah, it somewhat supports what we're talking about, but it still has caveats, which is, there's room for improvement, I guess.
Well, I guess
Um,
the thing that they say right in their abstract that was kind of alluding to the same thing I was saying is there's just so far fewer of these cars in all of the same kind of car conditions that you would expect. Like driving in Rome versus driving in like Jaipur versus driving in LA are all very different conditions. And the places that have Waymos is Silicon Valley and like one other place, right? So like you're comparing like non they probably don't match variants. So like the samples that you're pulling are probably a lot different variants. I'm sure they control for those sorts of things, but it means that you have to kind of have a caveat for all of the interpretations that you're having here because it's really easy to blow a statistic out of proportion.
Raffle iron. Crashes with drivers tend to have an average 100% more injuries than driverless cars with the same number of passengers. Let me think about that. He's saying it's like a riddle. He's like, it's a tautology.
Hmm.
Okay. Crashes with drivers tend to have an average of 100% more injuries than drivers. Oh, with the same number of passengers. I see. Okay, that makes sense because the injuries apply to the driver, which does not exist also in the driverless
Right.
car. I was like, let me wrap my brain around that. I promise
No,
I'm not a
that's
dummy.
but you see how easy it is to like just have something casually be like, "Okay, that has truthiness," to use our old boss's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
word. And if it sounds true,
Mm-hmm.
and going back to one of our previous streams or recent ones, if it already aligns with your beliefs, we gobble it the fuck up. I was
Yeah.
ready to gobble that up. I was ready to be like, "That sounds right. That sounds accurate." You know?
But I mean, yeah, that's a great.
And
I'm
we
gonna like
both have
steal that essentially.
amazing degrees that matter and that we need to talk about and flash out.
Don't
And
we we can't shade Lab Potato if he I don't know, maybe he'll come back. Maybe we can talk more about our PhDs. Um
huge diplomas. Yeah, okay, cool. So what kind of data do you have on the automation and that sort of thing? Or like what's the vibes um, that you're getting across here with your labor market stuff?
oh yeah. So it actually like so okay, I'll start with something that I've recently heard. Do you know what vibe coding is?
Vibe coding?
Yeah, I just want you to take a guess of like what you think vibe
Okay,
coding
is
is.
this a science term or a life term? Or would that give it away?
I would say it's a science term. I mean, what's a life term versus a science term?
Well, so I'm saying like, is this like face card
No,
vibe
it's
spam, or
it's
is this like something that's like a
it's
micro
like it's like a
jargon?
technical it's a technical term, I think. I think
Vibe
it's
what
yeah.
now? Vibe
Vibe coding.
coding. I mean, I feel like it's probably just qualitative research, like coding
Okay.
results as
I
something on vibe.
I love First of all, I love that you said that because that I was like, is it sentiment analysis? Like
Yeah.
that's literally what I thought. Like Claude. No, apparently there are AI programs such as Claude AI and like
Yeah.
Manus AI are examples that through like just simple verbal prompts, you can actually produce code that will like and then altering that code via verbal prompt like
Uh
yeah,
huh.
verbal prompts you can create entire applications essentially. And
Sure.
this is, I guess, again, I literally heard about this yesterday. But the person I was discussing it with was saying like this is probably like the next big thing in that software programming is like kind of like going to take like a massive hit and the people that are actually going to have jobs in like tech industry are going to be people who are like doing machine learning, who are doing the like who are like managing the AI and like coding
Mm-hmm.
for the AI as opposed to like coding application, like doing application coding.
When we say
And I'm sure
coding for the
Get a Grip has
AI,
many opinions on this. Hmm?
when we say coding for the AI, is that to mean like me pop into an LLM like ChatGPT and be like, hey, I want to make a program that does whatever, that like shows me a rat every time the camera detects that my frown's upside down, or no, the opposite, my smile's upside down. And you just kind of like tell
Mm-hmm.
it like, no, not like that. Is that what that would be, or do you have to actually like typey type?
No. So you like
Do you have to do a
you yes
boolean?
like no. You don't have to. Yeah, like so you're not having to know and have any coding knowledge. You can say I want to make an application that achieves this goal in the same way that like I don't know if you use like Excel macros a lot, but you like I Google and like how do I do Excel macros? You could be like ChatGPT build
Make me
me
a
like an
yeah,
Excel macro that builds on itself, and then like it'll I don't
yeah,
know
sure.
pull like build like a JavaScript code for you
Okay.
essentially.
I mean, hate that. Um,
Yeah. So I
scary,
mean that
but also
where that's looking
useful.
forward, but we've already like I was looking at it. There's statistics on how many jobs have already been replaced by AI, and this is something that's like it looks like okay, generative AI um grew from $191 million in 2022 to $25.6 billion in 2024.
Hmm.
And in 2024, 150,000 plus tech jobs were eliminated. And this is from Forbes, apparently.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So
it's not like a scholarly article, but it's like a
yeah.
decent. And then 24,000 were eliminated in 2025, citing
Christ.
AI efficiencies. So AI is actively replacing people's jobs,
Yeah.
but it's primarily jobs that are you wouldn't refer to them as like highly qualified personnel on like
Yeah.
a grant application, for
It's like
instance. There's like
a low
it's going to
entry
be
point kind of
it's gonna
job.
yes it's gonna be like early career individuals, like
Uh-huh.
junior developers. We're talking administrative people. So yeah, thoughts on that?
Well, okay, so I said immediately that my like first blush kind of vibe was that I hate it, but also I remember a couple years ago when I was trying to find a way to reduce the bottleneck of data that I was dealing with in my experiments where we have to code faces of mice lots and not manually, ideally. And I was talking to my friend that is at NYU or Columbia, one of the New York universities that everyone's hot shit about. And he's in the kind of like, you know, computer software engineer, blah, blah, blah space.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you can definitely do that. And this was right before ChatGPT kind of like went mainstream. And I remember going
Yeah.
on to ChatGPT and being like, is this possible? And it kind of was like, it's possible if you do this, like go on to like what Stack? Something Stack?
Substack, yeah.
No, not Substack. That's
Substack.
like a blog. Something else Stack. Stack Overflow. Is that it? That's one of
Okay,
those.
okay, yes.
Anyways, it tells
Yeah,
me
that's
to
the
go
thing.
on a bunch of like open source GitHub, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, so but that's still coding. That's still me acquire new skill to execute, right? Whereas this, it sounds to me like I could get there without having to learn a new skill. I would just need to be able to give adequate enough instructions, which is a much lower barrier to entry for me to use the tool, which is good.
Yes.
But on the other hand, I don't know that there's another hand to that. That sounds useful, but it also sounds scary because of all the statistics you just cited about like, you know, job elimination and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's I don't know. We don't need to get into like the ethical implications of that. But again, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's like AI has this beautiful potential. I think like I have like integrated it into my workflow of like things that I used to do manually in Excel, like I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
deleting empty cells and like
Yeah.
empty rows and shit like that. Like deleting rows of like missing data is like
Mm-hmm.
again, maybe I'm sure that there's a macro for that. I probably could learn I could code something very
But again,
simply, but
you
it's
have
like
to learn a new
I just
skill.
drop it into ChatGPT and be like, please eliminate these duplicate entry, like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, right? So,
Well, and for
um,
me, you hit on like a really important part of this that is unfortunately kind of philosophical, which I don't particularly love, but it's maybe I lost my train of thought.
that's totally fine. I think like people are going off in the chat essentially about
Yeah.
like how programmers got done dirty. People are
Yeah.
talking about artists being robbed. Speaking about artists,
Hmm.
I definitely believe that there was a sorry, my headphones are gonna get die soon, so I might have to switch
Oh,
over. I just got the little beep beepy noise.
yeah.
Um, I think there was a court ruling at the federal level,
Right.
maybe, that AI art can't be copyrighted. So I feel like that is a bit of a protection for artists, in my opinion, but or maybe not. I don't know how you feel about that because I feel like people are using AI art.
The Supreme Court ruled that
AI art could not be copied.
that they won't rule on that, meaning that the lower court's ruling was upheld, meaning that AI art's free game.
Yeah, oh yeah, AI, okay. This my headphones are very old and use a micro USB, not a USB C. Thanks, though, baby. Appreciate you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. Art is such a tough one, right? Because
Mhm.
I personally know a lot of literal like soft art artists, like sculptors, painters, these sorts
Yes.
of
Yeah.
things. And this is not to disparage digital artists in any way, shape, or form, but I think that there's
Mhm.
like a closer kind of like symbiosis that might be possible with digital art and AI kind of having something that isn't parasitic from the AI onto the actual artist. But it's a
Mhm.
lot harder to, have an expressionist painting that's a real painting that's made by an
Yeah.
AI. Maybe like you could do that with a 3D printer or something like that. But, if you're getting impasto, which is like when the paint literally rises from the canvas and there's things that are like
Mhm.
poking out.
Mhm.
Could it do that? Could you code for that? Would that be as moving? Is there some degree of like quote unquote soul that even if it could replicate the physical media, would it be something that I'd be as interested in, or is part of what makes art interesting in the first place its relationship to humanity? And like, sorry, I that's so fucking the
That's
mustache
very
twirly, but
metaphysical.
right. But I mean, like, it's
Yeah.
that's how I feel about the art thing.
Mhm.
There's no two ways about it. Is it
Yeah.
possible that AI taking entry level jobs
Yeah.
won't be a problem because it just shifts what is now an entry level job? I have thought about that, but I think it is a problem because it.
Can you repeat that, Alicia?
So, better off Ted's question in the chat. Is it possible that AI taking entry level jobs won't be a problem because it just shifts what is now considered an entry level job? You still can't.
Yeah, I plugged in my headphones and they decided to completely disconnect Bluetooth. Give me 2
We're
seconds here.
having such a good time. I love this.
I know, I
So,
love all of our technical problems.
while Layla's
There
doing
we go.
that, number one, I think that that's a really good point. It's a great counterpoint, and it's kind of the AI modern day version of, oh, we just changed from blacksmiths to car mechanics. And, we just changed from,
Yeah.
people building roads. Well, that still happens actually. But, like you're just updating what's happening in day to day. And to some degree, I do think it's that. But as Get a Grip says, the issue is that the entry level jobs are now how you learn to do the job and make the thing, but also because it's driven by endless growth profit models,
Mhm.
it's always going to want to be shaving off more of the bottom and more of the bottom line, or growing the bottom line, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know. Whatever one is more money for the rich people, right?
Yes, reducing the bottom line, I think is what people would say. But
Yeah.
like, yes, I think like no, I completely agree. I think again, I keep being like, there's so much potential here. There's so much potential for positive benefits to society,
Yeah.
but because it's like a capitalistically
It's in the hands of
driven
the wrong people.
process.
It's in the hand.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
And
couldn't agree more.
I think like, and I also think that people used to say like, people used to shit on social media and like some people still shit on social media because we're like, oh, people don't talk to each other anymore, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it's not that people aren't socializing and socially communicating, it's that the manner in which it is happening is changing right
Yeah.
now, that it's in a indirect form via this platform.
Yeah. We could have
And so
touched
I
on
think
that in the
like,
parasocial relationships thing. Like, how much is that?
yes,
How much is a parasocial rather than like an explicitly face to face traditional social relationship? How do those compare in terms of like well being? And I can't remember what the conclusion was, but I think it generally was that it's slightly less enriching.
yeah, I think no, I think it ended up being it's a little bit less positive of a
Mm-hmm.
benefit. Sean, can you bring me the plug for my headphones? I'm just gonna plug them in. I don't have to have power for them to work that way, like an aux cable. But yeah, so no, and I think in that way, like culture is obviously being shaped by AI. And it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna have obviously positive and negative benefits, but it is like scary in like meanwhile, like figuring out how it's going to shape people, like, and especially I think the labor thing is like what scares me, is because
Yeah.
especially in the US, like people need jobs for like healthcare. People need like you being employed is such a like massive necessity to survive in the US
Absolutely.
because cost of living, because healthcare is often dependent on like you being
Yep.
employed and all of these things. So the fact that people can't like are being replaced by robots just so that corporate entities can like have lower bottom lines is so frustrating.
Yeah, it's the trickle down ain't trickling down. That's the
It,
thing.
it,
That's just the
it
thing.
don't be trickling.
No trickles. Complete drought of trickleless life right now. Yeah, I really couldn't agree more. I don't know that I have anything of value to add on that. It's a succinct and accurate way to put it. And it's really concerning, to be frank. Like
Yes,
it's
I
concerning
completely agree.
because the United States is a benchmark for a lot of the kind of developed world in terms of how productivity is done and how, you know, non-manufacturing based economies are done and how kind of like all of that integrates, right? Because there's lots of places that have like physical resource based economies and stuff like that. And that has its own huge amount of problems. But here, there's so much kind of skill based and labor based kind of value that if you start to siphon that into kind of this nebulous, no one's getting paid, no one's doing anything, then at some point, I envision there being a tipping point where there's not enough people with the resources to use the thing that they've built up to be so beautiful and amazing. So there'll be some version of a world where if we all got self-driving cars, or we all figured out self-driving cars are way safer, and the people rich enough to get them got them, there's still going to be, you know, me with my old 93 jalopy. I don't drive a 93. Anyways, cruising around town. And the only solution to make it so that the technology that's driven by the AI or designed by the AI or whatever into full implementation is to make it accessible. And that's against the profit driven kind of, you know, vibe. So
Okay, is a jalopy like a real fucking car? I feel like I've heard this term for like a beater for my whole life, but is it like
Archie of Archie Comics drove a
yeah?
jalopy spelled like, oops, oh, I can't type in that chat. I have to type in the other chat. I'm so sorry. Chat. It's spelled like this, jalopy.
That's okay. That's what I thought. Okay,
I like
but is it an actual type of car?
Pronounced it like it was like an Italian, like, jalopy, my favorite nephew. That's funny. Yeah, he drove
A slang?
a
No,
jalopy.
it is a slang term for an old, decrepit, and unreliable automobile. So it is. It's like just the equivalent of a beater.
Yep, that's
Okay,
exactly what it is.
that makes sense.
So yeah,
That's so funny.
that's the state of affairs there. But yeah, I mean that's the societal cost. I think it's pretty clear that like in the right hands it's a tool. At the end of the day, it's a tool, and the way in which we use that tool will determine whether or not it's straight up evil or useful or somewhere in between, right? You know, the internal combustion engine, great, we can drive cars. Oh no, the world's on fire. That old parable.
Oh yeah. Oh God, climate change.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So sorry. I feel like I because I was dealing with my headphone situation. I like didn't get to weigh in on the arts aspect.
Yes,
but I
please.
think like yeah. So there were a couple different sources that I was looking at that like talked about art, and again, I think it goes back to this sort of like AI is like corporate driven, it's capitalistically driven.
Absolutely.
And one of the sources I was looking at, which was actually from the UN, it was like UN Chronicle.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it. Was essentially saying that like if it's being artist led, for instance, like artists are using it, I don't know, for like idea generation maybe, or for like I don't know how I'm not an artist, so I don't know how you would use it. But again, as a tool, like an effective tool, like you could have things that are like maintain creative integrity. But when people are essentially just using it to spit out low quality art and then just like AI slop essentially
Yeah.
as we
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, then just like throwing that to like on social media or whatever. It's you're not like producing anything. And I think you were talking about something that's like such an interesting
Mm-hmm.
point is like AI art often is missing like a human
Yeah.
aspect, right? It's missing cultural relevance or like a certain message. And I think that that comes from human prompts. So it has a lot to do with that like human AI interaction of how you're going to actually get that like
Yeah.
beneficial. I don't know what's the word, like what do we call a beneficial aspect of art? Like what word would we use for that? Artistic benefit, artistic expression.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on if you're talking about the viewer or the creator or society at large kind of thing. But yeah, the artistic kind of like payoff, I guess, would be, you know, one of the things. Regarding creativity, there was
Mm-hmm.
research about, and I did not read the actual paper, and it's cool because I can't even open the paper on here. It's also a bioarchives paper, or not even bioarchives, it's an archives
Mm-hmm.
paper that was asked a AI to come up with original research ideas versus scientists, and I cannot open it right now, so I can't even tell you guys more about it. And I didn't end up reading it. I put
Mm-hmm.
it on my list of things to do before this, and I didn't do it because I read the other paper. But
Why is this not
I
working?
don't
Oh,
think,
interesting.
from what I remember of my glance of it, it's something about the breadth of ideas that it can create. It can jam things together in a word salad enough, articulate word salad enough way that it does
Yes.
sound like something that's new and unthought of, but the actual feasibility
Yes,
of the things,
it lacks the ability it has the ability to go from A to B to C,
yeah,
but it does not have it lacks the ability to jump from A to D essentially
yeah,
and like have creative thought as
yeah.
opposed to like process oriented. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is because as of right now, from what we know about, like, God forbid I mention AI consciousness, is that it depends on existing information to generate its, you know, the creativity as we define it as creating
Mhm.
something in that case depends on information that's already out there. So it's just about combining already existing ideas in an not already done way. But humans have the most sophisticated computer in our heads all the time that's capable of using all the information it knows, but also a slightly different kind of like take on it that has, again, that fucking soul bullshit. Ken
The
Jennings. I
soul.
love that we pulled a Ken Jennings in here, but remember when Ken Jennings basically ended Jeopardy and then he got beat by DeepSeek? Um, it was definitely
I do
marketing for
not.
IBM. So you know who Ken Jennings is? Like, he hosts Jeopardy now, and
I might need to get on my cultural
so when Alex
bandwagon
Trebek
here.
died, Ken Jennings, Mayim
Yes.
Bialik, and a couple of the other like big hotshot long-term people that were on Jeopardy and known
Oh, I
smarty
see.
pantses kind of rotated their hosting until they settled on
Mhm.
Ken being the natural kind of next host because he's the most famous man in Jeopardy. He's the one that went
Okay.
on the streak that changed the way that Jeopardy operates
I
because
see. Okay.
he would have just gone on forever essentially.
Mhm.
So now they do this thing where if you go for a certain length of run, they say, okay, now you're one of the champions. You go to the champion of champions little, you know, league later on. It's kind of like the sports
Mhm.
almost. Whereas before it was just, okay, now you're today's returning champion for the 93rd
Yes.
time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But then because it was so entertaining and people were so interested in seeing more of Ken Jennings and just how fucking
Mhm.
knowledgeable he is, they decided to put him up against IBM's Watson, which is apparently driven by some deep seek thing. I don't know the kind of nuts and bolts of it, but
Mhm.
it absolutely destoed him, like, by a long shot. There was a couple of times that it was like catastrophically wrong. but
Okay.
proportionality of correct versus incorrect and the speed with which it can answer and calculate that even back then was like far
Yeah,
better
that's
than a
fair.
human being could ever
And
possibly do.
that would have been like how long ago then? Like
10 years ago?
5 years?
15 years ago?
Oh, 10. Oh, damn. Where
That
was
he talked to
I?
Watson or that he did his run? Because his run was probably 20 years ago at this point.
The IBM Watson thing.
Let's find out. We have a computer. We can do this. Ken Jennings Watson. 2011. Yeah. Lost a
shit,
three-day,
okay.
$1 million tournament to Watson, an IBM supercomputer. So that's 2011 computing, you know?
That's crazy. Dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
Dude. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how they were trying to advertise their like Intel Core, what was it, 3 probably back in 2011?
You know, I don't know. I think it was one of the first kind of instances of non-marketing marketing. Like it wasn't like, this is brought to you by IBM. It was, they just called it Watson. And then there was like a little IBM logo where they called it IBM's Watson. And it wasn't like as explicit as all that, which kind of made it, I guess, feel less greasy and less like an ad. But now everything's that. You know, you scroll and you're like,
I know, right?
A TikTok with puppies. And it's like, wanna know how her fur's so shiny? I give her Flu Flam gummies every day.
Well, I mean,
and she loves them. And I'm like, don't puppy bait me, you fuck.
Yeah. The commodization of all of our everything. Well, okay. It's happened in the past, what, 5 years, maybe 10 years that social media started running ads. It's like every third or fourth post you see is an ad on Facebook, Instagram, I guess TikTok as well now. And then in addition, and then it's like Netflix and Prime and all these other things added ads, which I don't know whatever happened to those court cases where they were actually being sued that they like, that would people like, because it was like false advertising when people initially signed the contract and it had no ads.
Yeah.
That they just added them later. So I don't know what happened after that.
I'm willing to bet that they had a clause in the original contract that says I can change this contract at any time and sucks to suck, because that's how those big long terms.
That's how it be.
Yeah, terms of engagement or whatever the fuck. Get a grip.
Yeah,
So
those.
I give her beef tallow in the puppy supplement.
What? Oh yeah. Oh my god. I rub it on my dog.
Yeah. Coon, honestly, she'd love that. She'd be like, I'm beef flavored now. Where's my dog?
Yeah, she'll just lick herself.
Wolf, where are you?
Yeah.
I don't know where she is.
Yeah. Sorry, going back to your creativity point though, I think that like recognizing what AI is capable of and is not capable of is like super important in using it. And so like obviously safety reasons as well.
Yeah.
So like one of the things that I think has come to light in the past year for me, like I really did not use ChatGPT until this past year.
Yeah.
But AI hallucination rates are like
hell yeah.
very, very, very surprising. And like ChatGPT is like known for you have to like double check everything. And so honestly, I treat ChatGPT like my little dumb friend. Like I try to write the prompts as like as straightforward as possible. And like, okay, you do this little basic task. Oh, you did that task correctly. Okay, here's another basic task. And it's like on top of itself.
It gets worse the more information you have in it, though. Like the longer you're in it, the data supports that it gets too like there's too many kind of like idiosyncrasies within it that it starts to like discombobulate essentially. And I definitely have personal data to suggest that that is true. Because sometimes I'll be like, do this. And it'll be like, you're right. I did it wrong last time. The sycophancy is so annoying. It's like, sorry. Yeah, I did that wrong last time. And I'm like, and then it's like, here's the right information. I'm like, nope. No again. And I've gotten straight up mad at ChatGPT. Dan's been like, why are you typing so furiously? I'm like, the fuck.
Well, so once I literally I was like using these attachments, and then it was like I did the prompt and it was like, can you attach the things? And I was like, I just attached them. It was like a bad email correspondence. I was like, are you my coworker? Raffle Iron Chef actually said, if I don't know something, I ask my neighbor and they can look it up on ChatGPT. And that, I mean, yeah, I'm like, I assume it's gonna be incompetent, so I try to explain things to it as like easily as possible.
Yeah. Well,
Though the one thing I like is that it catches mistakes, right? If like you make like I don't know like a typo, it can like actually figure out that that's a
sure.
typo and like
Yeah.
work
Well, and
around it.
that's also a thing that I'm wrestling with personally. I have a lot of kind of pretty strong opinions and know where I stand in what camp when it comes to AI on a lot of things, but we use things like Grammarly and stuff like that now. I'm pretty sure they're AI driven. You can have them
Some
like
of it, yeah.
full on generate text for you, but even when you're just editing text, you can let it reword for you because you've written
Paraphrase the
in passive
paraphrasing tool is
voice
AI.
or
Yeah.
something like that. And how much rewording is authorship versus editing, and like where's the
Yeah.
line? Because I mean, and when does the line matter? Does it matter for an email? Probably fucking not. Does it matter for a paper? Probably fucking Lee, right? So
Yes, yeah.
I
I
don't
think
know where I
science is
land on that.
yeah. I think science is quite behind in like AI detection. Like I don't think publications specifically have like AI detection tools at this point. Like I think we're like maybe a couple years out from that, but I haven't seen anything like that recently.
So, fun fact that I learned in my lab meeting, because my lab meeting, we talked all about AI and they want someone to do an AI presentation. I'm like, maybe me. Um, I also don't want the scrutiny of that. But my
Yeah, that's
boss,
fair.
who's pretty decently high up in editorial levels and stuff like that of things with Elsevier or Elsevier, it's like one of the biggest publishing kind of houses of academic papers on Earth, or at least scientific academic papers. I don't know if they do arts ones as well, but it's huge, right? Their policy on AI is it's okay as long as you tell people that you're using it. They don't even want to try and stop it. And most of the university's policies is it's okay. It's fine. Like Rutgers policy is it's fine.
Yeah, I think
Because what are you going to
to a
do?
certain yeah, I mean McGill released stuff like in the like I don't know, the year that I was getting ready to leave that they were saying like it's allowed for like this level of for instance, like you can use it for like this type of searching, but you can't use it for like high level processes or else it's considered plagiarism. So I do think that it's like I am surprised that it's not coming out more, that it's like being like I mean, if you're not conducting scientific processes such as interpretation of results, et cetera, yourself, is it plagiarism? Do we consider
Yeah.
that to be plagiarism?
Well, especially when you don't know, and this goes back to the art thing, if you don't know where the thing came from and it came from actually 1,000 different things, in theory, yeah, you could cite every single thing in a science paper because there's the kind of, provenance, if you will, of an idea and the testing of that idea. But if it's borrowing artistic style from like literally tens of thousands of different art styles, then how do you credit that? Right? And
Yeah.
how do you credit like a vibe? How do you credit, that sort of thing?
How do, how do you credit vibe coding?
You're right.
No, I'm
Makes
looking at
people
the chat.
better
Is
off
what
when
decent at producing?
I can't read. This is part of why
Yeah.
poetry can break LLMs. Language is our tool, not theirs. Ooh, girl, let's go. They're borrowing it, but we built it. So this is very the Spike Jones. One of the Spikes.
Spike Lee.
Filmmaker Spike that wrote her. At the end, her goes like supersonic, and it's just like I'm over you. I'm past human. We had a 30 million year long conversation. Spike Jones. Who's Spike Lee? That's also a guy, right?
Spike Lee is a black director.
Yeah,
I believe.
Spike Jones is the one that's affiliated
Spike-
with Jackass.
Yeah.
And Spike
Spike
Lee
Jones
is
is
the black
her.
guy for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both great filmmakers.
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
Spike Lee do the right thing. One of the spikes. Yeah. So again, just like things that AI is like not capable of doing right.
Right.
Well. So and we're kind of talking about it in chat a bit of like Raffle Iron Chef made a really good point, very poignant, as I would
Yeah.
say. It knows how people use language, not how language can be used, right? So is
Right.
it like it can aggregate all of this data and like spit something out, but is it really like doing predictive modeling? It's not going to predict the next slang word that
Yeah.
comes up on like, you know, it's not going to know what like big mogging is
Yeah.
essentially or predict mogging,
So
but
there's
which I actually
data.
don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means at all. At all.
I just I'm chronically online, so it's just me learning words and not knowing what they actually mean.
So there's data on that, though, whether or not ChatGPT, when it generates stuff, how it uses words and how convergent or divergent that is. No points for guessing how convergent it is because it's lots. But the paper that I was referring to that's in a bioarchive, so not peer reviewed, very important for those outside of the academic sphere. There's now this kind of like conceptual thing where we do preprints where you can kind of lay your claim on an idea so it doesn't get scooped. And also if you're having trouble getting it published, you can get the data out there and like getting buzz and that sort of thing, because a lot of what we do now is marketing for all intents and purposes. So this is on a non-peer reviewed site. So they load up the paper in its submission form. So it's usually quite polished and ready for submission to an actual journal. And lots of times people will do this while their journal or while their article's in peer review, because especially for giant papers, that takes a long fucking time. So these data that I will talk about, you know, now and throughout the rest of the thing are from an unpeer reviewed piece of media or piece of data, pieces of data. Mogging is a Gen Z slang term for dominating or outshining others, primarily in terms of physical attractiveness, fitness, or style.
Alpha male of the group, shut the fuck up. That's okay, that explains why it's the specific group. It was like related to clavicular, yeah, that guy. Who is like white supremacist.
As in pertaining to the clavicle?
No. There is a Nick Fuentes equivalent human out there named clavicular, and he is like generically attractive. So he tries to like put like white supremacist garbage out into the internet essentially, and like yeah. And so again, there was like a meme about him that had something to do with mogging. That's the only reason I know what that word even exists. And then looks maxing as well. These are all like, yes, this is like, it's like white boys trying to tell other white boys how to be. And it's like, bro, calm down.
I'm trying to find a picture of this man, and my algorithm for Google is so science deep that all I have is pictures of bones. I just got pictures of people's not one picture of a human man. Not one.
Please, can you share? Can you share on the call, and then also just I need to see.
Oh Christ! I just moved the chat. Hold on.
As or of related to the clavicle.
I don't know if I have that set up because I haven't. Oh no, wait! I can do it the other way.
Share screen in the call. Yeah,
share screen in the call. That's the answer. It's going to be small, but I'll make it bigger. Okay, share screen. Share your screen. Don't dox yourself, but I also kind of have to a tiny bit show you guys my tabs because this is because of my own personal algorithm. There's a guy's dick right on the very front. It's an anatomical dick, but it's a dick, so I gotta be careful here. Okay.
Raffle Iron Chef, thanks for being here. We appreciate you. Have a good.
Thank you so much for rest. Your poignancy and your quotations and whatnot.
That's him right at the bottom.
Oh, okay. This man that's touching his chin.
Huh?
This person that's now in the center of the thing above the dick, above the pee-pee. No? Okay. This is him. Are you there? What's happening? Oh. Okay.
I just had to change over. The headphones died on Bluetooth, so I had to do the wired in.
So but I had to scroll pretty far to find that. I got bones. Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bones.
Boobs.
Some more bones. Oh my god.
Look at this dog. That's cool. Clavicular intersection. That doesn't sound good. Don't do that. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing the screen now, folks.
I'm dying. That's so funny.
Yeah, so I'm pretty proud of the fact that my algorithm wasn't like, you mean this young Gen Z influencer. It's like, you mean the bone. You mean the bone.
You mean
We're
the
talking osteoclavicles here, not we can't hear
I love
me.
it.
What?
Oh no.
What's
What?
happened?
Oh. Okay. On my stream.
Is that on you?
Well, but why?
Clavicular. Why would you name yourself that? That's so preposterous. I mean, fine. Go ahead. You know, whatever floats your dory. Yeah.
Why isn't it working?
Yes. Get a Grip says
I
yes.
think
Clavicular, a looks maxing influencer popular on Kick and TikTok, chose his name based on the emphasis placed on the clavicle width within the looks max.
do not go down the rabbit hole that is like this stuff.
Looks maxing?
Yeah. I can hear myself on your side now, by the
Oh
way.
no! I've changed nothing, Layla. Nothing. I've done nothing. Okay, well maybe we try my headphones again. Maybe we just roll the dice.
Yeah.
I'm trying a couple things.
Why is this? All of a sudden, you're the desktop audio is not coming in for you, which I'm like, bro, she's here.
I don't know why this isn't turning on.
Maybe I need to close OBS, but then I would have to end my stream and then come back, which is so stupid. I can't do that.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
No, it's definitely not.
Tech issues.
Yeah. Camera,
Hello?
audio mixer.
Does this
Yeah,
make
thank
a
you.
beetle boop noise when it turns on?
So-
I just got these, so I don't know.
Sorry?
What speaker are you using?
It's plugged into your
Temporary
computer,
difficulties.
so
Okay.
all of them I could
It's
hear
on now.
her through. Is it the
Audio output.
NVIDIA? Does it need to be?
Stand by, folks. We're experiencing some technical issues.
Yeah, maybe we should. I don't know if we should bio break if we're getting our shit together.
Oh no, wait, that's not what these headphones are called. Fuckity fuck. What are these headphones called? Haha. Can you say something?
Hello, hello.
You're in my headphones now, so you shouldn't be able to hear yourself. One problem
Is it
down,
working?
however many
No,
to
her
go.
desktop
Oh
is
no,
still
but
not
it's doing the choppy
an
thing.
issue.
It's these stupid fucking headphones.
I
Okay.
don't know because I plugged in and then all of this just stopped lighting up in the mixer on OBS. So I don't know why. That audio output settings maybe.
Shit.
Like I can hear her.
1 millisecond of time. What did I just plug in?
Anyways,
Yes!
maybe we could
you're
use
in
an
my
AI.
headphones!
Nice. Maybe an AI tool would actually be nice at the moment.
Okay.
Fix my technological issues.
I've seen about 5
Maybe.
minutes of Clavicular on Kick, and he was doing lightning round looks maxing advice for people in his Discord and saying you need to get a brow lift or chin implant, etc., etc. It's super cringe, IMO. I don't even know that there's any two ways about it. That is cringe. I think that's objectively cringe. Some of it's serious, but it's also kind of trolly.
Amazing, thank you. Appreciate you. So it's just fixing the properties of the desktop audio to match. Got it.
Cool.
We're relearning how to stream, everybody.
Yeah, and this is working.
I'm loving.
Awesome.
Amazing. I'm loving the headphones over the beanie. It's iconic, honestly.
I do headphones over beanie like a lot because I wear headphones when I walk my dog because I call my dad, and
Oh yeah.
it'd be cold.
And you still live in a region where you need need a beanie.
Well, also it's kind
Yeah.
of part of my, looks maxing.
I know it's part of your part of your aesthetique.
Dress like you're underage, and people will ID you when you try to buy twisted teas at the depanneur.
Dress. You're trying to get
No,
you're
remember we
trying to get
went to the
ID?
depanneur across from your old place before Sean moved
Mhm.
back from
Mhm.
overseas. Do we call that overseas? Is that overseas? It's overseas, so I suppose.
It's Europe, yeah, it's overseas.
But I mean, like, yeah, okay. Anyways, we went to the depanneur, and I was wearing my little astronaut hat, which I still wear very much, and
Mhm.
I was wearing it backwards, and the lady was just like, "You're not old enough to buy beer." Or twisted teas. I think we
Yes,
were getting
I
Morris
do
teas.
remember you getting carded. Did I also get carded though? Was it both of us or was it just you?
I think in that instance it was just me because it maybe looked
Yeah.
like you were babysitting me because I was walking around in like oversized clothing, just like a little gremlin.
I was babysitting. You're like a foot taller than me. No,
I
it's
know,
fair.
but you're
Like,
like 7 feet more responsible than me just on vibes alone. I have
I'm
matured
screaming.
these days, but yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
it's yeah, like children pretending to be
Sorry.
a plastic surgeon. Yeah, what were you saying? Go.
I've had more stuff to say about AI before my whole headphone setup but like busted
That's good
open,
because
but
it's not the end of stream when we're talking about AI. So
yeah.
come at me,
Okay.
girl.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about like, yeah, like using it as a tool, like what it's actually like effective for and like what we can use it for, what's like
Hmm.
what how is it safe? Like there's so many obviously like you have to be very very safe because everything that you're putting into AI is then being used to like build like and again, we're usually talking about
Hmm.
ChatGPT when we say AI, but it's being used to like contribute to that language model. So if you're
Absolutely.
this was something that we talked about in our I just took like a biomedical ethics class essentially because I
Hmm.
have to for my postdoc. And one of the like ethical discussions that we were having was somebody had signed up to what's it called? To like edit abstracts to sorry review abstracts for a conference. And at the last minute, one of the other people who had done this dropped out, and um, they essentially so then their workload increased and they did not have enough time to like provide to each of these
Hmm.
abstracts. So what they decided to do ultimately was to like put these abstracts into ChatGPT and to like have that do an initial review
Hmm.
and then go back and sort of review that and confirm and be like, yeah, actually I do like agree with most of what
Yeah.
the this model is saying. And like what are the ethical implications of that? So like one of the reasons people were saying, well, you really shouldn't do that is because those abstracts are often considered like confidential when submitted. So anything that has any sort of confidentiality
Hmm.
around it,
Yep.
it's really unsafe to obviously submit to a like a language model like that.
Absolutely.
Like
There are
medical
secure
data.
ones, as I understand it, but ChatGPT
Yes.
is not one of
And
those.
there is apparently a setting on ChatGPT where you can go on like private mode
Yeah.
temporarily.
Yeah.
However, again, like yes, you should be like very, very careful about like, you know, electronic health records and stuff should
Yeah.
absolutely not be going on there. But then to me, I'm like, it's because large language models are a number of like been they're like built by people, right? Like it's people's
Yeah.
data and information over and over. Like what is good writing, what is bad writing?
Hmm.
I think that like it's essentially getting your it's being revised by more than one person in a way. And if that person is then sitting and confirming that information, is it so anyways, I was
Yeah.
actually said I think I was fine. I was personally fine with it, but I think that other people were like very against that. So it's very interesting sort of conversation.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to give a person more labor than they can reasonably be expected to do, then on that angle, I'm like, fucking use every tool you got.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you know, is it ideal? No. And also, there are data in this giant MIT Labs paper
Mhm.
that talk about human evaluation of essays versus LLM evaluation of essays, what they're able to detect in human written essays, Google search in, or sorry, brain only human written essays, Google search informed human written essays, and LLM, specifically ChatGPT written essays on concepts like happiness and satisfaction and these kind of like abstract concepts that don't have like a correct yes or no answer. They got these people to write these essays and compared them on a whole bunch of things and then had them evaluated. So that's actually one of the last experiments they did. But I believe, I just want to double check my facts here, but I believe that the ChatGPT evaluation was not able to detect which was which, but the humans were almost
Oh, interesting.
immediately. Yeah, the humans
Interesting.
certainly could. I want to fact check myself about the GPT, the LLM not being able to.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I feel like people who work with AI models frequently are able to like sort of note that. So like for instance, I work with somebody who like was able they're like I am able to like determine that outright because they work with them so commonly, and I have gotten used to it at this point that a friend of mine actually went through like a diagnosis process for like via a clinical
Yeah,
psychologist, and then looking at the report that was produced at the end of that, I was like, this is like just the structure, the way it
yeah.
was written, the vagueness around it as well. I was like, this is AI generated. So like all of your results are being put into an AI model to produce
Yeah.
this. And I'm like, that is highly unethical. And I recommended to that person that they should like report that
I went to a
practitioner to like a
dietitian that
board.
straight up
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
that and didn't even remotely try and hide it. You know, when you ask ChatGPT to do something
Mhm.
and it uses a stupid fucking emoji that's like, it's like vegetables and then it puts little sprout emoji and stuff like that. She just
Yes.
copy
Yeah.
pasted her fucking junk in there. Hefro redeemed
Hy-
hydrate. Hell yeah.
hydrate.
Thank you so much for the redeem. And also welcome in, Hefro. Hefero. I don't know how to pronounce that, but either way, welcome in and thanks for the hydrate.
Mhm.
Okay, I found the
He
information.
mhm.
So this human teachers, like actual teachers of, you know, that are used to evaluating essays of that sort of nature, and an AI judge or an AI based scoring system using ChatGPT's LLM. Essays produced by an LLM previously were initially scored lower on accuracy by both judges, the AI and the humans. But later, after, sorry, I should explain the whole experiment because there's another kind of like caveat to it that needs you to know other things about it. But so they switched. I'm going
Mhm.
to try and give you the very kind of quick nuts and bolts of it. So they got people to write stuff with their own brain only. They got the stuff, people to write stuff by using traditional non AI summarized Google and by using ChatGPT. They evaluate those essays, they switch them, and they evaluate connectivity. So they do an EEG basically
Yeah.
while they're doing it and evaluate kind of just like broad connectivity. And they did look at a little bit of like regional connectivity. But what they found was when they switched the brain only to the LLM versus to the Google or vice versa, that the connectivity patterns were very different. And the main takeaway
Mhm.
is that if you start with the AI, even if you move to brain only, the parts that are getting engaged and the general level of engagement of your brain in totality is much
Mhm.
lower. So
Hmm.
their conclusion and the first author's conclusion by her own admission in the podcast I listened to her and in the paper itself in their discussion is it seems to matter a little bit less if we take connectivity as an indicator of goodness or badness, which has its own kind of problems. But
Mhm.
it's less about whether or not you're using it and more about where and how you're using it. So if you're in an ideating process, if you're trying to start writing something, the benefits of starting it brain only in terms of brain engagement and connectivity in certain areas of your cortex is far more beneficial to start brain only than to start LLM only. So if you're in the outlining phase, don't use the LLM, which is very much what I use it for. I'll say, I'm writing something on this, give me an outline, remind me to talk about this. Because frequently when I'm ideating, I basically just want an assistant, right? Like I want someone while I'm sitting there postulating, being like, we should talk about this in the paper, you know? And that's essentially what I'm asking the LLM to do.
Yeah.
But apparently that very much matters in the quality of the downstream content that you produce and in its convergent, the amount of words that it uses that are individually different from the other words are different. It's they're way smaller. The variance in the LLM group versus the brain only group, and then the Google group was somewhere in between, as you would expect. And yeah, I thought that was pretty wild. And that's the paper that everyone is citing, because it was last summer that they put it on archives. That's the paper everyone's citing, saying, is ChatGPT making us stupider? That's the one that a lot of them are referring to in pop media articles. Almost all of the ones that I found. So
I see. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like it goes back to the soul aspect that you were referencing, right? Because if we're talking about, like you're saying essays, right? And so like,
but it was essays about like happiness and like life satisfaction and shit.
Yeah, it's less like of an academic thing, right? It's like, oh, this academic essay is not stimulating me enough. It's more about like this piece of like writing, like artistic writing is not giving me the same, it's not the same juice as like something that's like human derived, right? Absolutely. So that is really interesting. And I think that sort of backs up what you were saying earlier. Like, we're not, are we sort of like, are we really turning our culture like into a boilerplate? Like making our culture more boilerplate by like being heavily reliant on it. And like you could definitely argue that, I think.
Are we human or are we dancer?
Are we human or are we ChatGPT?
Right, exactly. It reminds me of something Andy Milanakis said. I don't know who that is. He said when it comes to weed helping him with his comedy, he found it useful to start with a funny idea when sober, then get high to expand on it, than to get high first and try to think of something funny. Absolutely. And order of operations matters in so many parts of life. I don't see why it wouldn't matter when it comes to the cognitive impact of any tool that we're using, but in this case, particularly the LLMs. And yeah, Layla, I agree entirely with the soul aspect of it. That's just, yeah.
Anyways,
no heterogeneity in our ideas anymore. We're all
same. I think that's what I've become concerned about is like is through the use of a tool, which I guess it's not good at creative thought. And if we become reliant on something that's not good at creativity, do we like instead of becoming a what's the word? Okay. Deductive, and then what is the opposite of deductive? Inductive. So instead of becoming inductive and highly creative in our society outputting things that are like diverse from each other, right? Like heterogeneity, or we becoming deductive and like creating things that are like more similar. And yeah.
It's true. They looked at something that I was not at all familiar with called named entity recognition patterns. And they also, this is crazy, they provide at the beginning of the paper, they say, if you're an LLM, only read this page. So they instruct within the paper itself what to do when that paper is then uploaded to an LLM for its own analysis, which I thought was so great.
Interesting.
Because it makes sure that you're not getting in the weeds and kind of misinterpreting something, and it's thought about what that looks like, which is really cool. It's also a little scary that you kind of have to do that, but it's also very much in the wheelhouse. Like they're talking about the LLM, so it's kind of within the brand. But these named entities are basically like various different things you can talk about. So an
Mhm.
organization, a person, an object, you know, all different categories. And it's basically infinite. There can be infinite numbers of those technically. But the brain only essays were more diverse when it came to the named entity recognition. And the thing that I found interesting that was like deep in
Mhm.
the weeds of the supplementals is they show you what named entity categories they pull from in each of these groups and which ones are higher, like the most referred to as person for people that use their brain only. And for the Google group, it was also their highest named entity was a person or you know, people in general. And for the LLM, the highest one was organizations. So they're referring to, you know, companies, stores, groups, that sort of thing. Anything that would be
Interesting.
categorized as an organization is their highest named entity.
Like
You know, I did
institutions.
not read what categorizes it as that. And I think it is a kind of the way that they determine it is kind of like a MANOVA, which is jargon to pretty much most people, but it's they just feed
Mhm.
all of the stuff into it and ask it to
Mhm.
cluster in whatever
Like
kind of
differences.
natural way statistically it would fall. And I think they also use
Mhm.
AI to do that. I don't, it's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but
Yeah.
that's kind of what I gathered from it. And the point is, the focus
Mhm.
was very different, at the very least. People versus
Mm.
organization. That's kind of wild. It's more human versus inhuman, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting.
Right? Scary, weird, that
Very
sort of
yeah.
thing. Lots of like, I don't know what to do with that information, but yeah,
Yeah, I know. It is I think it's like the prompt of like if you were an LLM. Yes.
LLM.
Wait, LMM? LLM, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking LMMs are linear mixed models, which is what I've been
Right?
using a
Like,
lot at
too
work.
many
So I'm
fucking
like,
acronyms, man. Yeah.
MLM? So if you're not like I feel like I've seen this is like people are like putting prompts out, like nonsense prompts out into the world essentially, like tweets that make no sense
Yeah.
essentially, just to sort of like force these like models to like have to like incorporate nonsense into their
Absolutely.
processes or like not to be like able to like what's the word I'm looking for? Defy the training of these
Yeah, to
models. And I
sabotage
think
it
it's
in a way, right?
this yeah, and it's I don't know, it's like I agree because I think like on one hand I'm like okay yes like we AI is like moving so fast and our culture is changing so fast as a result of it that like doing stuff like that can maybe slow
Yeah.
that process down, but on the other hand it's like we are all these are also tools that like a
Yep.
lot of us are using maybe on a day-to-day basis now, so are we just like improperly
Self-sabotaging.
training a tool? Yeah,
Yeah.
self-sabotaging exactly, and I'm like
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel. Like I go back and forth on it, and I'm like, do I want to participate in the sabotaging of
Yeah.
LLMs?
I mean, a lot of people, they're having to deal with the sycophant kind of aspect of it. The chat being like, "Yeah, absolutely," and that's a great idea because you don't want it like that. Oh my god! I tell the chat GPT, I'm like, "Fucking cut it out. I hate it. Stop it," and it'll be like, "You're right," and I'm like, "I'm gonna fucking murder you, you robot." Um,
Okay, that was something else I wanted to talk about. Is LLMs are trained to complete a task, right? So this
yeah.
leads to hallucination, which we've talked about, like a technical term that I learned like 6 months ago. I was like, "Wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's real." So hallucination,
Yeah, AI psychosis.
essentially just making shit up, but then also like agreeing with you as a person. And people are using there are people like I know people that are using ChatGPT as a therapist. And I'm
Yeah,
like, you can't
absolutely.
do that. You can't do that because it's
You can't get a
the
normal
entire
fucking therapist though, and ChatGPT's free, right? Like, it's the worst possible lowest common denominator that's better than nothing. And is it better than nothing? Maybe
I mean,
not.
I know because it's not like, okay, yes, sure, it can like aggregate psychological info, but its intention is to complete a task that
Yeah.
you ask it to do, to please
Yep.
you, the user, essentially. So
Yep.
it's never going to like challenge you per se on
Yeah.
like your behavior and tell you, oh, that was inappropriate. No, it's
Yeah.
saying, oh, you abused your wife. You're still a good person. I'm sure you had a reason for that. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's not gonna like challenge you on that behavior.
Well, okay, so content warning, if anyone has issues with like talking about self-harm or anything like that, you would maybe want to mute or leave. Not that we want you to leave, but I want to put that at the forefront. Some people have been driven to complete suicide because of an LLM. That is an actual thing. That's an ongoing legal battle between ChatGPT and a
Wow.
family whose son committed suicide. And a lot of the data, I listened to like a psychiatrist podcast where they talked about this and like what to do and that sort of thing because of access to mental health care, and people are doing
Hmm.
this anyway. And exactly what you're saying about the complete a task, it doesn't think and link these ideas together in a creative or generative way, despite being generative. So if you're sitting there talking to it in a therapy type setting, saying, I'm having thoughts of self-harm, there's a whole bunch of kind of benchmarks along the way when you're talking to a
Hmm.
therapist about what level of suicidality is kind of acceptable to monitor versus emergent care
Yeah.
versus, that sort of thing. So you're
Yeah.
talking to it like this. So the LLM knows that you are in acute, mental distress. You then go ask this LLM to give you a list of the tallest bridges within 2 miles of your house ranked by proximity. Is it going to execute that? Absolutely. Absolutely, it will. And it will not put the two and two together that makes us go, whoop, that's a bad idea. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's so fair. Yeah.
it's supreme sycophancy. It's being a sycophant
Hmm.
to a toxic degree because it wants people to stay on it. The people that design this
Hmm.
want it to stay on it, and it wants to execute whatever task you ask it to do. So if you ask it to do something, the only stop that exists in it is if you explicitly ask it, hey, teach me how to make an explosive, or something that it
Hmm.
liability wise has been programmed to not provide you information about. It will give you a boilerplate, here, call these numbers. And it basically then refers you back to a human being because it's like, I
Yeah.
can't handle that. Or if it
Yeah.
could handle it, the people don't want the liability of handling it wrong. It's just fucking nuts. The solution that these two psychiatrists suggested, if people are deeply kind of in this therapy by ChatGPT thing, is to,
Hmm.
on occasion, take your own chat history from that, open up one of those kind of independent incognito windows within it that you were talking about
Hmm.
that isn't informed by the previous one, or use a separate LLM like Claude or
Yeah.
whatever, and put it in and kind of reality test and be like, is this making sense?
Mm.
Is this advice? Because this psychiatrist's point was, this isn't the advice I would give this person. But if this person is already not having enough access to care to get someone to tell them that, not trusting people to tell them that, or so indoctrinated
Hmm.
by the LLM that they're in active psychosis or delusion, then
Hmm.
maybe telling them the AI way to harm reduce is the
Yeah.
best path of progress. And I thought that that was A, scary, B, good creativity on this, mental health professionals' part. But fuck.
Yeah,
Fuck.
that's I mean, yeah, I guess it's like yeah, like if you're gonna do it anyways, it's like how do you make it the most viable
Yeah.
way, right? Yeah. Yeah, reality testing. That's so fair. It like you bringing up that point, right, though, of
Yeah.
like saying these things and then bringing up like the bridge thing. Though that context that obviously an
Mm-hmm.
LLM cannot pick up,
Yeah.
but we as humans can, I'm like, the fact that there are people who have whole relationships with an LLM, like that's a whole other level. Like we haven't even obviously we haven't talked about that, but like
Yeah.
I mean, I think My Strange Addiction just like recently released an episode about
Really?
a woman who was in her relationship. I think was thinking about getting married, something like that
How do you
to
marry an
their
AI? How do you do it?
I mean, I think that there are people who have somehow accomplished it. I don't know, maybe
That's
not.
bizarre.
Maybe I'm just making that up.
No, I mean, like,
I'm pretty sure somebody has gotten like engaged through AI at some point, which is crazy. Like how do you have relationships with I'm going to say people with an entity that lacks those type of context clues, right?
yeah, I think it goes back to the sycophantic nature of it, right? Like when we're so
Mhm.
deprived of, you know, the one-to-one human interaction that's face to face and full of a whole bunch
Yeah.
of nonverbal cues
Mhm.
and sensations and stuff like that, that any facsimile that kind of covers even a portion of that thing that you're missing can be more potent than, you know, not than the harm that you think it might cause later, right? And there's
Yeah.
neuroscience to suggest that as well, right? Because if you are hungry, your signaling of your reward centers are going
Mhm.
to signal harder for all intents and purposes for something that will satisfy that biological demand at that time. That's just the brain it does this kind of dynamic prioritization saying, like we talked about last time, prioritize survival because can't get
Yeah.
berry if eaten by bird or whatever it
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
that I said.
Tiger in the bush, berry in the tree.
Tiger in the bush, berry in the tree. I'm glad you remembered that. I would never would have. She
Yeah, it
named
was
the
so
AI
good.
Sinclair.
Yeah, I'll look this up. I'll share screen. I realize I have not been sharing my screen with you this whole time, Alicia. I've been like showing stuff on la 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 la.
Oh, this is Andy Milanakis. I've never seen this man before,
Yes, yeah. This was
but
the what I put it. I think it was Better Off Tattoos. Mentioned this earlier.
yeah, better off dead.
Um, what were we
Interesting.
looking up? Oh, the My
Sinclair.
Strange Addiction AI boyfriend Sinclair. I'm like pretty sure it's a recent. It was 6 days ago that this like it's like a week ago that this
Fuck
episode
off,
came out.
really?
Yeah. Um.
I mean, it's so romanticized in that Spike Jones film in Her. Like it sounds kind of amazing. It appeals to the male loneliness epidemic and that sort of thing, right? Like
Oh
it
my god.
very
Don't
romanticizes that. You're like,
don't
don't
get me
touch it,
started.
don't touch it. Okay.
But I think like Her also came out.
2012.
No. No. What?
Before 2000 and no, maybe not quite that early.
I
Before
think it was in the past 10
2018
years.
for sure.
2013. Holy shit. So like that's AI was not where it was at the time. People were like, "Oh,
No,
he's
no, this was
falling in love with
conceptual.
Alexa."
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, exactly. He was like, "Oh, he's falling in love with Alexa." And it's like, "Yeah, okay, sure." And it's like I guess romantic when it's not like real
yeah.
and it's I don't know.
Well, and when it's played by
But
Scarlett
it's
Johansson, probably has something to
yes,
do with it.
I know
Yeah.
that's fair. But
Show me your virtual
I think
boobs. Show Bobs.
just show Bobs.
I love Show Bobs. Sorry. I
No, I'm
side
just
railed
thinking
us
about
so hard with Show Bobs. I'm so sorry.
yeah, like oh my god, no, I was like shit. Fully
You
lost
were
my train of
talking about
thought
how
now.
AI wasn't where it is right now back then
Yes,
in
yes.
2013.
Yes, and I think there's something like yeah, when you can romanticize it when it's not like real, but I think it's we have to like get into the psychology of like somebody who can be in a relationship that has like no physical component to it, right? So it's just and
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's not a real person, like you could have a relationship with somebody online, for
Mm-hmm.
instance,
Mm-hmm.
but it's what is it about this specific thing? And I think it's that like it's like reward seeking, right? Because if it's trained to agree with
Absolutely.
you, it's trained to have unconditional positive regard for you,
Mm-hmm.
which I think most LLMs are. They do,
That's
right?
diabolical, though, for something that's supposed to be an impartial tool when you think about it. If that is indeed programmed into it, which I presume it is, because why the fuck would it be
Mm-hmm.
doing it otherwise?
Well,
That's
it's why people want to use it.
insane.
People use it for therapy, right?
Yeah.
Like, so as you're getting this positive response from it, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I think it, like, and I think that's why a lot of like males who are, you know, who would cite the loneliness epidemic are probably participating in these kind of like virtual relationships, right?
Yeah.
Because it's unconditional positive regard. It's this, and I mean, that is something that's lacking in a lot of
Yeah.
like people's relationships. So, like, I can
Yeah.
understand that. But yeah, I don't know.
I have personally used and paid money for an AI driven therapy app on my phone for parts work. And I even re-upped and got it again because it was helpful
Mm-hmm.
enough in absence of seeking out actual therapy of that nature because it's quite expensive. And because I'm in active actual therapy, I want to be clear, I am in no way endorsing using an AI in place of actual therapy. I do not think that that's a good idea. But because I'm in active therapy with a licensed therapist regularly for the last 6 years, and I, have told her that I'm engaging this sort of thing. It's a pretty well constrained model. It's specifically for parts work. So you sit there and it says, like, hey, tune into your body. You tell it what you've felt verbally.
Sorry, parts work.
Parts
Can
work,
you?
yeah. So it's called internal family systems therapy. And the kind of non jargon term for it is parts work. And the idea is that there's kind of a central true self that's orbited by a bunch of parts, and there can be infinite number
Mm-hmm.
of parts, and none of these parts are good or bad, but they're what are the genesis of your feelings. And at its extreme,
Mm-hmm.
if you turned this up to 11, this would be dissociative identity disorder, where you have multiple
Okay,
personalities. So like, you have your
got it.
inner child. That's one that a lot of people are really familiar with, is
Yeah.
an inner child. But you might have like 7 different versions of an inner child that come out at various different
Mm-hmm.
times, and that sort of thing. Or you might have an inner critic, or that's got the voice of your mother but looks like your auntie, or whatever it is. And you basically engage in dialogue with these parts as
Mm-hmm.
if they're separate from yourself. And the idea of this kind of therapy model is that you identify when a part is doing the kind of speaking or the driving the bus that is you,
Mm-hmm.
versus when there's a bunch of C's. They're like calm, curious, connected, a whole bunch of things, is when you identify as being in true self. Curious is another one. And yeah, so you basically go and it's like, okay, let's talk to that part that's, cold and shivering in the corner, or let's talk to that part that's yelling at you, or let's talk to that part that's telling you you're too fat and you don't fit in your shit anymore, or whatever part is coming up. And it
Yeah.
just
So
basically
interesting.
strings it along in the case of this app, and kind of
Mm-hmm.
fills stuff in. And it's a tiny bit sycophantic only in the the way that it validates, right? So it says, that sounds like it's really tough, or it sounds like that's really overwhelming, or something. And it's very clearly
Mm-hmm.
AI. It's not super effective at even sounding un-AIE, but it's enough of a
Mm-hmm.
guardrail for me to be able to do the work myself
Yeah.
with the guidance of an actual human being, with reading a
Mm-hmm.
lot of actual peer-reviewed data and papers
Yeah.
and methods and stuff like that. So
That's so interesting.
yeah.
So did the term inner child originate from parts work then?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it did.
Yeah, I feel like, and it.
It's pretty, as far as a actual data evidence-based therapy model, it is the one that's the most hokey sounding at first blush. Like, as you
I
can
see.
see on
I
your
see.
screen here, they
Oh,
refer
sorry.
to, oh, that's
Oh,
okay. They refer
sorry.
to a lot of parts, they categorize them as
Mhm.
firefighters, exiles, and managers. And so your exiles are like your poor parts that aren't allowed to talk, right? They're the ones that are actively
Mm.
in pain. They're the ones that are shoved to the corner, and frequently the ones that, according to this theory, are causing you distress. The
Mm.
managers are ones that basically kind of negotiate between the firefighters and the exiles and keep you going day to day. And the
Mm.
firefighters are what come out when you're in kind of inescapable distress to basically douse the situation. And
Hmm.
the fucked part is a lot of really trauma bound people. Sometimes the firefighter is like, oh, just die. That's how we can escape this pain at
Oh,
its most
okay.
extreme end. Or they'll be like, just break up with them. That's a part of you that's a
Mhm.
firefighter saying,
Mhm.
hey, here's how we can avoid this pain. And your true
Mm.
self might know, oh, I'm not in a good place to have this relationship with this person because of whatever actual reason in your calm centered self.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So interesting.
it
I feel
is.
like dividing your true self from your all of these pieces though is like that's so difficult to like it's like what
It's
is my true
extremely
self and what
difficult.
is my yes.
It's extremely
What is yeah.
difficult. I have to
Yeah.
say, as far as a therapy modality that works within one session, myself and lots of other people that, you know, suffer from similar conditions to me have said that it is the fastest relief that they have found. And I
Okay, that's
completely
awesome.
adhere to that. And it's crazy because like CBT works, it's evidence backed, but I can CBT my way to fucking Tuesday and it
Yeah.
doesn't do
I
much
mean,
noticeably.
yeah. I mean, yeah, me and Alicia have had a conversation previously where we were both in therapy and we're like I feel like CBT is just
Gaslighting yourself.
like you yes, literally it's like kind of gaslighting yourself and like also just like you I feel like I think as people who study psychology, we're like I feel like this is inherent in our understanding, right? So it's like the
Mm-hmm.
techniques that we're using are like I'm like, yeah, I already think about it in this way. So it feels like very like I don't want to use this word, but like dumbed down for somebody who like works in the field. And I'm like, I don't really understand.
Absolutely.
And I think I'm like, this doesn't work for me. It doesn't work. And I
Yeah.
mean, it's a very effective tool for some people, absolutely. And I
Mm-hmm.
think people who are brand new to therapy probably benefit from cognitive behavioral therapy. But I think it can be like a very simplified tool for some people.
I also think it's a tiny bit informed by the time that it was in its major heyday. That was very
Mm-hmm.
much kind of like late 90s, early 2000s, and 2010s. And the more I think about it, the more it's kind of like the just do it anyway behavior is very Western capitalism based rhetoric, whereas something like, say, acceptance and commitment therapy or, you know, something like
Yeah.
that is a little bit more compassion driven and trauma informed. And
Yes.
because trauma informed didn't become part of our kind of lexicon and drive in a therapeutic setting until very recently, when
Yeah.
these sorts of evidence-based therapies came out, they didn't have to do that because no one was talking about that. We were just trying to find a way to solve the problem, not the best way to solve the problem. And so now I don't know, gaslight
Yeah. You think
yourself
it's
and
like
just do it. Just gaslight and
yes. Yeah.
Nike had it down.
Yeah.
Fucking no.
Yeah. I mean, it was originally developed for phobias, right? So it's like if
Right,
somebody
yeah.
has like agoraphobia, right?
Yeah.
It's like just do it. Just
Yeah.
do it, right? Just go outside.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and again,
Yeah.
it's effective. So no shade if anybody is in
Mhm.
that you know, treatment modality.
Mhm.
There are still very useful tools that exist there,
Yeah.
and no shade whatsoever. Whatever works for you is the best therapy.
Mhm. Sorry,
Chat,
just I know
chat
we're like
GPT.
a few minutes from wrapping up here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be like, I wonder if do you think there's an AI tool for literally just like is that a specific AI tool that you're using for therapy, or do
It's
you
it's
think
an
that like
app called
Mhm.
IFS Guide. I want to say.
Yeah.
Um,
What do
I
we think an AI therapist therapy tool like needs? Like what are like positive traits of an AI therapy tool? Like if it's actually that's its intention specifically.
I mean, safety guardrails is probably, harm
Yeah.
reduction top priority just at first blush. In terms of like efficacy, I would say I would want something that felt relatable and
Mhm.
felt like true understanding. That would be something that I would be looking for in it.
Yeah.
In the feedback that I was getting from it, in terms of like utility on its end, if there were a way to incorporate kind of like biosignals like cortisol or something, like we all wear smartwatches and that
Mm.
sort of thing, and be like, hey, maybe your phone vibrates and says like your heart rate is up and whatever, if it could measure your cortisol or something, some Theranos ass shit.
Yeah.
If it could do that, it could be like, hey, you need a mini therapy session, go to, the coat closet at work where you cry, or, whatever, and have a little mini session. I think that that would be something that could be really useful.
I just not you just saying that so nonchalantly. Yeah, go to the coat closet where you have a cry at work. I don't think most people have a crying room at their workplace. I know I did in grad school. I don't now. Do you still have one?
No, it's my house. I cry at home.
Ah, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't cry at work anymore. I did cry at work when I have to sack rats. I cry at work.
Oh, I see.
It's pretty
That is
hurtful,
sad.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ear kick. What a name for an AI therapy tool. You want a kick in the ear? That sounds like fucking boomer therapy. Like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and give yourself a kick in the ear, you
Kick in the ear.
layabout. Like,
I'm screaming. An
fine.
AI companion using CBD. What? So I mean, like there are tools that exist specifically for this like
Mm-hmm.
usage case.
Mm-hmm.
I think like if you know somebody who is using ChatGPT for therapy, maybe recommend one of these to them so that they
Yeah.
don't
Well, because they're
keep getting
purpose made,
told.
I think, is an important thing, right?
Yes, exactly.
Being purpose made
Yes.
and having bounds to operate within. Like, I don't go and ask my IFS thing for recipes, right? Like, it's just, you can be a lot better as a specialist than a generalist as humans. And I think that that might be true for computer programs as well, or large
Exactly.
language
So we're
models.
talking a specialized tool,
Mm-hmm.
probably still has the unconditional positive regard built in, but in a way that's actually effective for therapy
Yeah.
and not in like task completion, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
something that actually will be a beneficial tool.
Yeah.
And I think we're like pretty much getting close to time.
Yeah.
Clearly
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
sun has gone down during my session, so I'm
Yeah.
just like here in the dark now.
Shadark.
Um do we want to are there any final comments you have, Alicia, before we maybe do a raid?
I don't think so. I mean,
Mhm.
I think that we covered everything that I thought we should cover.
Yes, I agree.
I think I think we covered a lot of ground. I'm pretty happy with how that
Mhm.
went. I'm glad that there was some discussion, and thank you very much to our folks in the chat and
Yes, yeah, we
whatnot.
really
It's
appreciate
always
it.
really nice to have chatters, especially ones that are giving thoughtful commentary, and open mindedness. That's something we very much encourage here and appreciate. So thank you, and thank you to anyone that's lurking as well. Lurkers
Mhm.
are appreciated too. Um, I am very hungry, and I don't
Okay, so we'll just
we
wrap
don't
up. We
have
won't
to.
raid then. That's
Yeah.
I feel you. I feel you.
I also don't even know any of the people that are online on my thing. I only know like 3 Twitch streamers now. They're all just people that are suggested, which you can blind raid. You can blind raid,
Okay.
but
How the Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
that's okay.
I like went to the main Twitch page to be like, "Oh, is there anybody?" And then all of a sudden, it's like the video started playing and the noise was there and I was like, "Oh god,
Yeah.
desktop audio." Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, there's a few people, but I think
oh yeah,
we're fine for now.
paleontologizing is on
I
too.
know, I was
Yeah.
thinking that as well.
It's just the bandwidth to do the post thing. I know it's what we're supposed to
I
do,
know.
but I just
I know. I know.
yeah, I don't think I don't think I can.
It's okay.
Okay,
We don't have to do it every time. We'll aim to do it every other time at
Okay,
least, so we don't have to do it every time.
We can even start
Okay.
doing it every time. I just need to gird my loins for it at the beginning of this. And eat. I need to eat. My edamame is sitting here just ice cold in the bowl.
Me and my neurodivergence are like, small talk is not for me, so I'm just like,
right?
Bye.
Well, like, lots of people are pretty understanding, and they're like, go do your post-stream stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay. But anyways. Okay. Yeah, loins were not properly girded. Thanks everybody. This has been
Layla Showed
and Neuralicia.
And this has been Vulgar Science, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you for being
having
here.
your science vulgar. You can always count on us.
And we'll see you next week.
On
see you next week.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
All right.